Jeez, look at that thing. A gigantic edifice behind us is the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center. As Matt and I were exploring this and other buildings in the DC area, this building in particular prompted us to think about international trade. You've probably heard about the TPP by now. It's enormously controversial, but there is another question that we have been asked about for years on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, email, and more, and that is this. What is a petrodollar? Would people really wage a war for it?
From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. Every country on the planet is also a financial trader, hoarding currencies, bonds, and other financial instruments as a way to retain stability during uncertain economic shifts. Today, the US dollar has often been called the world's reserve currency. But what is it based on? In some circles, analysts believe the true value of the dollar is based on its popularity as the means of exchange for international oil sales, leading traders, investors, and policy wonks to refer to it as the petrodollar. So what is this exactly, and why should it matter to you? Here's where it gets crazy. The petrodollar may have much more of an impact on global stability or instability than it initially appears. According to author James Rickards, the US dollar has been the world's dominant reserve currency since the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, which set forth global rules for monetary policy. As analysts at JP Morgan write, under the terms of the Bretton Woods Agreement signed in July 1944, the United States agreed to exchange US dollars for gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. Currencies of signatory nations were pegged to the US dollar within a 1% deviation limit. Central banks would buy or sell US dollars to keep their currency within the permitted fluctuation band. Thus, the US dollar became the world's official reserve currency. As of 2014, over 60% of all global reserves are in US dollar-denominated securities. But the dollar isn't based on gold anymore. Rickards argues that the dollar has been propped up by the petrodollar, the use of currency as the primary means of trading fossil fuels. According to the story, in the 1970s, Henry Kissinger approached Saudi Arabia with an intriguing offer. The US would guarantee the continued security and rule of the House of Saud if they agreed to price all oil in US dollars. According to Rickards, the arrangement soured when President Obama initiated détente with Iran, a move he argues Saudi Arabia saw as an act of betrayal. This, coupled with other factors, the changing trade relationships, the current energy boom, and more, may spell trouble for the US dollar's position in the world order of cash. So how far will the US go to protect the status of the petrodollar? Some theorists such as Jerry Robinson, William R. Clark, and F. William Engdahl believe protection of the petrodollar is the ultimate cause for many recent US wars, including the invasion of Iraq and the toppling of Gaddafi in Libya. According to this idea, the US invaded Iraq in 2003 when Saddam Hussein moved to sell oil in euros. This remains a controversial concept even more than a decade later, but various quotes from government officials seem to confirm the importance of this resource in global conflicts. As former chairman of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan wrote, "I am saddened that it is politically inconvenient to acknowledge what everyone knows. The Iraq War is largely about oil." For years leading up to and following the various wars, invasions, and attacks in the Middle East, the US official line has referred to stability. But stability of what? According to Rickards, Clark, and others, that's something they don't want you to know.
Prices are going up on everything. CDs up 12% in the past year. Food up 14%. Gasoline up 8%. At the same time, unemployment is also high. 8% of Americans are out of work. The economy is in the dumps. growing less than 1% a year and seems on the verge of a recession. Citizens are protesting against Main Street Bank and Trust. The bank has made hundreds of loans that may not be paid back. What should Americans do?